sometimes I think being dispassionate is probably an advantage and will make you perform better. Dispassionate meaning that you're not passionate about it. It's maybe the way you could look at doing your job. Most people aren't passionate about their jobs. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're like a low performer. They don't care, but it's like you're probably not. If you ever had a minimum wage type job, you're like a cashier or something, you probably weren't super passionate about ringing up people's food, all right? Like, I think most of us probably had that experience for it. So, you get me. But maybe you were serious about doing, like, a reasonable job because you thought, like, being able to work the register really good was kind of cool, you know? So, you can think about it in that vein. But there's other professions where I think it might actually be really important for people to be dispassionate. And you could think of coaches, therapists, probably doctors of any kinds, lawyers, accountants. I think that these are all positions where if the person serving you really cared about you, it might actually make them do a worse job. I could especially imagine it in the case of something like a lawyer where and granted there could be perverse incentives here with like billing structure and law, but somebody could accidentally probably egg you on into pursuing something that's stupid if they really cared about how you felt as a lawyer. Or if somebody was talking to a therapist or probably any kind of medical professional really at all, I imagine you could get poor guidance based just because somebody would feel bad for you. So that wouldn't be a good thing. Funny personal experience about the therapist thing. I was like really addicted to this game when I was a kid too, and I like had bad grades one year, and my parents like made me see a therapist over it, and like I had like 2 sessions with this lady, and she's like, "Your kid's fine. You just plays too much fucking World of Warcraft," which. God damn, that's so fucking funny. Looking back on it. At the time, I was like, I want to play WoW. Why do we have to do this? It's like an hour, and the drive's like 40 minutes each way. Like, I could have like done a heroic or two. Fucking kill me. Jeez. But I think that those positions, it's pretty easy to see that the person being passionate would potentially be a problem. Like doctors should be passionate about medicine. They probably shouldn't be passionate about patients, especially if they're in a field where they're going to have people die all the time. Like it wouldn't be sustainable. And I also think that in some ways, being passionate about rating can make you have lower performance. For example, I used to run raids in 2019 with people who were much worse players than the people I play with now. And the players also didn't like each other. And we had similar raid performance to what we have now. And that puzzles me. But I remember raid leading in 2019, and I did not feel as emotionally invested in the raid because I didn't care about the people nearly as much. I like cared about a few people, but at large, there's a ton of people I didn't really care about in the raid groups I ran. Just a compromise at the time that I made in the process of trying to get a guild set up faster, recruit a lot of people, deal with people you don't fucking like, integrate friend groups that you're not sure about, can't get to know everybody if you're trying to go from 0 to like 80 people in a couple months. Made, I don't know if I'd say mistakes because it's something that you just have to do. It's a reality of running guilds normally, but definitely uncomfortable. But anyways, these people that I raided with and that I raid led for, if you want to put it that way, I didn't respect them in the same way that I respect my guildies now. And I think it made me better able to get some shit done. Because, like, for example, I used to do weird stuff, like assign 2 people to do something in case one of them fucked it up. And I know people hate that. People hate that kind of shit. Like, if you have 2 tanks, you both assign them to the same mob, you're thinking one of them's, like, gonna be fucking stupid. Granted, tanks aren't really a problem, like, in my guild, but, like, if you do that shit, you'll fucking piss people off, because, like, they're gonna both feel like absolute retards. But I would just be like, I don't fucking care what your feelings are. Like, you chuckle fucks messed this up 1 in 10 times, so, like, you're gonna get to hold each other's hands while you fucking retards do it. Like, fucking listen to me or you're not gonna be in the raid type shit. And I had this different energy about the way I managed the group, where it was like, fuck you, you don't deserve me. And for example, like before a raid, I'd be excited to do the raid, and I wouldn't be worried about like doing an especially good job. And then nowadays, I show up to raid with my guildies, and I'm like kind of nervous about like, I don't know if I'd say I'm like nervous about necessarily doing a good job, but I'm nervous. Like I really care about how the raid's gonna go and how the people I play with, the experience they're gonna have. It's super super important to me. And fucking thankfully Razor Gore is at the start of BWL, because I just get 6 minutes to like fucking chill the fuck out, and I just take my hands off the keyboard and everyone's just bullshitting in Discord. So like that gets all the nerves out for me. But it's so funny every time. I just think, man, this is so strange. Like I've never played with better people and who are more emotionally stable and like each other as like this. It's never been this good, and for some reason, I just feel a little worked up right before we get the first polls going, which is it's odd. It's odd. I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of raid leaders that feel this way, at least new ones. Like it kind of reminds me when I first started doing it. Like I remember doing the very first Molten Core Pug the first time I ever did Molten Core, ever. It was like week 2 of Classic. I was one of those fucking idiots who played 24/7. Like I took fucking Adderall and stayed up for 3 days straight on launch of Classic because I'm a fucking moron. I was like seeing things, like literally I was having like visual hallucinations. Like there's like spiders in the corner of my vision, and then I went to bed. My wife wanted to kill me. That was that was fucking dumb. Don't stay up for like more than like 16 hours, guys. It's really bad for you. But anyways, I did that, and then we have like week 2 MC Pug, and I've never done Molten Core before, and I've never raid led a 40-man. I've only raid led a couple 25-mans by the time this happened. Mostly Gruul's Pugs on a private server. We didn't kill Gruul all that often either. It was a fucking shit show. And I'm like looking, I'm like I checked a lot into how to do the bosses in MC and the trash mobs, and like took notes on all their abilities that I could find from just checking like dozens of videos. And I was doing this while I'm like leveling, you know, I don't have a lot of time. It's like get to 60 really quick and then start the fucking lockout, you know? And I remember being just so nervous getting all these motherfuckers I don't know, like for a pug, into a Discord call and like having to tell them how the shit works. and then there's like goofy ass stuff happening in raid, like people be like, well, I did this raid fucking 14 years ago and I think that the Molten Giants do a fear, like, or no, I think the Core Hounds do a fear. Yeah, actually no, yeah, I think somebody said that. I think the Core Hounds do a fear, like we need to like fear ward everyone. It's like, okay buddy, we're not gonna like fear ward the whole raid before every fucking Core Hound, even if it does do a fear. Like what are you talking about, bro? And just all this wacky shit that was happening the whole time. If you raided early on in 2019, you'll definitely know what I mean, where especially if it was a pug, just random people making up shit that like all the bosses did. Like I fucking know, my memory's crystal clear. I know I was in college back then and I was like fucking 3 bowls deep or like a whole 6-pack, but like trust me man, my memory it's crystal. And it was such a crazy time. And then I kind of like calmed down as I like I got my own guild made. Then I started playing with some people I wasn't super into. And then now I'm like experienced, but I really like the people I play with. So I'm like more, I feel like I have like more at stake in the raids. And so even though it's like never been easier to have good raids, it's still way more on my mind if things go bad than any of the previous groups I've ever had before. It's nuts how worked up this fucking game gets me. But at least it keeps my attention, and the people I play with keep my attention too, and that makes it a really really good experience. I've been in raid groups before when I've canceled my guilds in the past, and then usually I go and I find some casual guild and I go raid with them, and I just think, oh, this time I'm not gonna take the game so seriously. Like I took it seriously before. I ran a guild and it really got me worked up. I'm not making that fucking mistake again. And then I go and play with some fucking idiots. Like my last round of doing that was on Classic Era, joining a guild for their second ZG clear, only thing they'd ever done. And I wasn't the raid leader in this guild yet. It was somebody else, and I remember this raid leader being extremely nonchalant and not caring, and they didn't know anything about the game, so like they did a horrific job, but they were like so divested from anything resembling a result at all that I would say they did their best every second of the raid, even though their best was fucking dog shit. Like their best was like, let's find a way to wipe on Hakar type stuff as a full guild run. Although I don't think we actually wiped on Hakar, but you get the idea, right? Like if your guild runs its own ZG and you show up with 20 people and you wipe on anything in fucking ZG, you're probably gonna be a little triggered. But yeah, we'd have that kind of shit happen all the time. Raid leader totally unfazed, and what a weird experience. I actually kind of don't get how people can play the game a lot and not end up taking it seriously and getting a little too invested in it. Just because, I don't know, I think the things we put a lot of time into, they just get a lot of control over us. Or at least the things I put a lot of time into end up with like a ton of control over me. Except for my last job. That was fucking lame. Fuck you, Microsoft. Oh my god. Fucking testing Xboxes was bullshit. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.